Day 3 concludes with two key matches in Group B. You're watching the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships live from Limerick, Ireland on Lax Sports Network. Hello everybody, Tom Eschen here with you on the call. We've got Team Israel and Team Japan, these U21 squads with a drone overhead here in Limerick for this one. Should be a good contest as Group B wraps the day up here on a Friday. We'll have in about an hour from now as well on laxsn.com, Puerto Rico and Czech Republic. But here now you're watching Japan and Israel in Group B. Israel starting off with a loss to Puerto Rico yesterday. Japan beginning their tournament here today. Teams will talk things over and we will get you set and ready to go. The first opening face-off coming up right after this. As we're just a few moments away from face-off here in Limerick for Day 3, a good chance to tell you what's happening here over the next few days as our coverage continues right up until next weekend and this tournament concludes. But obviously, we're in the thick of it now. Our coverage continues tomorrow. Join us at 8 a.m. Eastern for featured game number 1, Czech Republic and Japan. We'll continue here in Group B. Then at noon Eastern, you get to see Sweden and Uganda. That'll be fun. You can watch the games live from Limerick, Ireland, or on any of our digital platforms. Go to laxsn.com for the list of links, or you can watch the games right there on laxsn.com. Tom Eschen here with you on a beautiful, warm day. It's been a warm week here in Limerick. Mid-80s, which is hot for this time of year. We should have a front come through later on this weekend. We'll cool things right off and it'll be much more pleasant. But right now, the players having to deal with those conditions on either side of the equation. Team Israel yesterday losing to Puerto Rico 11-3. And as mentioned, Japan here making their first U21 World Championship appearance since 2008. Of course, everybody for U21 is making their first appearance, but I guess in this competition, U19, U21, that's the way it goes these days. This tournament delayed 2 years due to the pandemic. 23 teams, a record in attendance here as we are off and running. Yusuke Takeda winning the face-off, a quick pass, and it's deflected out in front, though Japan wins the first face-off and they take over here. Led by now Fumi Suzuki, the 46-year-old. How about the development of lacrosse in Japan over the last few decades? It has grown at an exponential rate, and you can see now some of the results of that. Getting better and better on the international stage. It's been fun to watch coming off in the World Games in that sixes format, a bronze medal, third place finish. Shocked the world. Here's Yuta Ishikawa working on that right side. Out to the left. No shot clock here in this competition. 15-minute running clock quarters will stop below 30. Quarters 1, 2, and 3 below 2 minutes in quarter 4. Akozaki now working from X. Gets a nice pass and out of the stick of Atsuka. Picking it up here in the defensive end is Greg Wells, one of the captains, Fayetteville, New York. Made his debut for Tufts in 2022. So Israel, we'll see as they yesterday looked better in the second half, especially that fourth quarter. This man, Roman Abramovich, a captain, he scored 2 goals late. Really just took it on his own, showed a lot of athleticism, a couple of pretty finishes. Would love to see more of that as Israel had a tough time solving Puerto Rico. Ido Bart David took a couple shots yesterday, picked up a couple ground balls as well. Here's Joey Kraft, he scored for Israel yesterday. Makes a quick pass, that's deflected away. Good defense by Kazuki Miura. Fight now here for this ground ball. Picked up by Uta Kaigara. But taken away once again here by Team Israel as Wells is able to grab it. Now he has it. The pole staying here on the offensive end and picked up by the other pole on the other side of the equation. Taisei Chikakane, 21-year-old Kagawa Zero High School, goes to the Tokyo University of Agriculture. Part of the Team Japan system and their U19, U20 teams going on up. And now Japan will get to settle things in offensively here once again. 17,000 plus athletes playing lacrosse right now in Japan, part of the Japanese Lacrosse Association. It's one of the top in the world of really the athletes that play the sport. Ishikawa, the jump shot and the score. Japan on the board first, 1-0. Yuta Ishikawa, the 21-year-old out of the University of Tokyo, says the reason he started playing lacrosse, he wanted to be the best in Japan in the sport, playing at the top level in the world. Here, the slide just didn't come far out enough. Daniel Yufa gave him a couple more inches of space. Needed to close off that gap, and Ishikawa took advantage. The 1-0 after the goal from Ishikawa. Face off and falling all over each other. Takeda able to come out with that once again, winning it on Goldman. Takeda's 2 for 2 today. Captain of his college team, Sophia University. Hakozaki now working from ex-captain of this squad. Look at the speed. Goes wide. Backed up though there by Nakamura. And Takeda also has stayed in there on the offensive end. Haigara will restart. Ishikawa, this goal scorer there with possession as well. Now they'll work it back out to the top. Tanamura with possession here. He's the captain of his college team as well. You'll see a lot of leaders here on this Japanese squad. Forcing Kaigura left is Juri, Zachariah Juri. Kaigura takes it down that left side, actually gets it deflected away, ball bouncing through. Ben Friedman, the goalie for Israel, he is very athletic, not afraid to come out of the cage, but he's got 4 white shirts around him. Doesn't come out with possession. Japan does. Friedman, despite the fact that they lost yesterday, made 8 saves. Thought he played pretty well for Israel, but just was peppered at times by that Puerto Rico attack. 29 shots Puerto Rico took. So he's in goal. Friedman once again, back-to-back days here for Israel. Another quick shot and a score. Tanamura. 2-0 Japan. The Japanese taking some of these Israeli defenders a little bit by surprise here. These quick sticks, watch this again. Tanamura working with that short stick. And once again, the slide just not coming in time. Too much space for the 21-year-old from the University of Tsukuba. Tanamura saying, I want to become a player who can overwhelm everyone so that I'm not ashamed of being a member of the Japanese national team. I'm a scorer. Wants to score as many goals as possible, and this culture, it just breeds pride, and the fact that they want to represent their country with the best of their ability, they take that to heart for sure, in anything. A lot of honor and respect they give to their sports. Obviously a big country when it comes to baseball, Japan, but lacrosse continuing to grow. Don't forget their women's team also played excellent at the 2022 World Championships in Towson, Maryland. Went 4-0 in their pool, finished 5th overall. Quick pass in front, that's taken away. Good job there by Wells once again. Good start for Greg Wells, this to-be senior at Towson at the Christian Brothers Academy. This is Ethan Dicturel. Now they're telling Ethan to get off the field here. Seth Mahler, the head coach for Team Israel. In goal, Shun Ito, a captain for Team Japan. Sometimes you gotta yell a little louder to get the pole off the field.
Hey, Esreem the slow-mo! Esreem the slow-mo!
Something Israel struggled with yesterday, and we haven't seen that yet today, is the man up. Puerto Rico had 10 penalties yesterday, and Israel had really still struggled to score. Here's Sam Trajano. He could be a part of that. Led the Israel Lacrosse League in 2020 in points. 21 goals, 14 assists. As this country really looks to build lacrosse, and they've done that with, they did a bubble in 2020. They used the gap year with some of these athletes going from maybe United States or other parts of the world to go spend time in Israel as well. And now with 6:45 to go here in the first, time for a water break. As I mentioned, we're in the mid-80s here when it comes to temperature, so they blow the whistle. They'll give these athletes an opportunity to get a couple sips of water. And while they do that, we'll also step aside. We're right back, 2-0 Japan. Back live here in Limerick, 2-0 Japan. They score the first couple, just a little less than 7 minutes to go here in this first quarter. A water timeout taken here as the temperatures are in the mid-80s, which even for this time of year in this region of the world is hot to begin with. So we got athletes coming all over here and sweating bullets.
We're going to resume play with 6:45
6:45 to go here in the first. See Japan go to work on offense so far. It's been a couple of those individual efforts. You've seen some of that stick skills and awareness come out so far. It's really interesting, as in some other areas, of course, as the game continues to grow, 90% of these players started in college here in Japan. Obviously, have spent a lot of time perfecting the craft since then. Couple steps, not afraid to shoot Tanamura again. Rebound bounces out far. And like I said, Friedman not afraid to come way out of the cage. He does and gets the ground ball and looks like he's going to complete the clear. It's Daniel Yufa. Was on the Israeli U20 World Championship team, the European Championship team, excuse me, in 2019. So there are some holdovers from that squad. Israel with a talented array of squads in their arsenal, of course, hosting the World Championships on the senior level back in 2018. That senior team currently 7th in the world, finished 7th at the World Games as well. Although bouncing here to the offensive zone, they've really struggled to click on offense, and out and running here, Tomoya Sodayama, a captain, the pull, takes the shot, goes up high. Normally you'll see a bouncer. He gets decked, but it's backed up. I think some of the contact disrupted his try there.
5 minutes left in the first quarter, 5 minutes.
5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Sodayama didn't go with the bouncer there. Does say his goal is to innovate this sport. So trying to be a little more creative. You see the pole do that quite often. Tougher to obviously shoot with that kind of a stick. Tanamura has one of the goals. There's a dish to Ishikawa. He does too. Shiro Kuroda, one of the captains. Trying to force him right is Hazan. Trying to look back to his left is Kuroda. He passes left. Shot saved by Friedman. Friedman gets his first clean save of the day. See Japan not being afraid to ride here, giving Friedman some trouble. Imagine probably saw Friedman be pretty aggressive here yesterday, and now continues to do so once again today, not afraid to come out. Israel maybe looking for a quick one, trying to get a spark, the dive, shot, and the score! What a goal for Israel! They get it quickly in transition. Sam Trojano gets his first goal of the tournament. Took 2 shots yesterday. You won't see many dives prettier than that one.
Israel's first goal of the game, scored 3:45 in the first quarter.
Mention his prolific scoring in the Israel Lacrosse League. He's one of those athletes that took a gap year in 2019-2020. Said he found a place of belonging in Israel. Originally from Lakeville, Massachusetts, and then went over to Ashkelon, Israel, where he spent that year coaching, playing, and just observing the culture. Then took another gap year after that, so he has the last 2 seasons. Found a lot of new, hobbies and, other people that were more like him, and really appreciated that. And an important part of this team, I'm sure they're happy to see him get on the board here. 2-1 now after Japan wins another faceoff. A good start at the X for Takeda. Japan going to work here. 2-1 the score. Tetsuya Yamada on this left side. Big kid, 6'2", 209, 21 years old. There's the Hosei University. Yamada now working goal line extended, looking for somebody to get open. That slide coming quickly. Flag is down, by the way. There's another shot. Kuroda gets his first. 3-1 Japan. That lefty release right over the top. Let's take a look at that again. Just a couple steps and really duck and cover. An absolute BB from the 21-year-old from Osaka. Goes to Nippon Sports Science University, captain of that college team. So Kuroda gets himself on the board here. And that was a bit of the trouble yesterday for Israel against Puerto Rico. Israel on the defensive side, sometimes a bit scattered, leaving some open men. And you can see Japan very disciplined, taking advantage of that themselves. Talk about discipline. Yosuke Takeda's won every faceoff today. Kid that grew up playing basketball now has taken a liking to lacrosse. Field has been tilted. Japan with possession again. And they've been pretty efficient offensively so far. Three to 1 the score as we make our way to the waning moments of this first quarter. 30 seconds to play. Tanamura. Japan now with that ball going away will look to get that last shot. Kaigara. Kaigara taking it himself, working on the short stick. Here comes an early slide. Kaigara surveying over the middle. Pass, shot, score! Kuroda's second. Beautifully set up by this Japanese offense. Kuroda's got 2. Give Kaigara the assist. 4-1. And just taking advantage of the eyes from the Israelis, all looking at Kaigara. They do it with 2 seconds to go in the first. How about that for working the clock down? Kaigara out of Omiya High School, Saitama originally.
In the first quarter, the game's currently 4-1 Japan.
4-1 lead, and now just the perfunctory face-off. And Takeda's going to win that too, just to get himself a perfect first quarter, a nearly unblemished first quarter for Team Japan. They lead 4-1, 15 minutes in the books. You're watching the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships on Lax Sports Network. A good look here at Team Japan as they take a 4-1 lead heading into the second quarter. Here in the University of Limerick, the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships, Day 3 underway. Actually, Finishing up day 3 here with a couple of clashes in Pool B. Japan, Israel right now, and then in just a little more than a half an hour, we'll see the other 2 teams in Pool B battle it out, Czech Republic and Puerto Rico. Czech Republic making their debut. Puerto Rico with a win 11-3 over the Israelis yesterday. Israel now trailing 4-1 as we head into this second quarter. Couple goals there for Kenshiro Kuroda for Team Japan, and also domination at the face-off X, Yusuke Takeda going unblemished in that first. So let's see now if Israel can counteract that in the second. Tom Eschen here with you on the call. Appreciate you joining us as we are getting into the thick of the U21 World Championships. 23 teams, a record amount here this year. And what a showcase of Ireland lacrosse and all that it has to offer here. So they do change things up here at the X. Greg Wells, the pole for Israel, will take this one. Try and see if they can lock down maybe a ground ball and muck it up a little bit. He'll go up against Takeda here. And Takeda wins the clamp, gets the pop. Now this is where the battle continues, and Takeda also gets the ground ball after that. So still, it's Takeda. But Takeda then throws the ball out of play. So maybe Wells did a little bit more just to bother him, as Israel does get possession. I know Takeda won the faceoff, but possession in the offensive zone, a big piece of that too. So here we are working in the second. 4-1 Japan. Israel, though, with the ball. This is a bit of a different game than we saw in Group B yesterday. Puerto Rico and Israel were really physical. 14 penalties combined. Puerto Rico had 10 of them, but Israel could not really capitalize on any of them. No penalties yet here today. One had been flagged, but Japan scored anyway, so that was waved off. Abramovich for the Israelis now taking over here on the right side. 2 goals late in yesterday's game. You can see his athleticism and speed. I think Japan very aware of that. Trojano gets taken down. He's got the goal, maybe one of the prettiest goals of the tournament so far. A diving, cross-handed finish as Japan gets the ball back. Good job defensively there by Taisei Chikakane, member of the Team Japan U19, U20 teams going on up as they continue to develop their youth system and build from the ground up. 4-1 as Japan takes over offensively here. Otsuka, Shuhei Otsuka now at X, as Japan looks for a call from their sideline, and Udo Suzuki making some substitutions in the process as well. Getting Kaigara back in there, Yamada. Otsuka now to initiate. He takes the little, looked like a feeder pass in front, kind of a touch pass at that. They're going to call that a pass. I thought it was. At first glance, I think that Fujioka maybe tried to sway the officiating crew a little bit, say it was not one of those, but definitely a pass. Bradley Edwards is our head referee today. Andrew Higginbottom and Edwin Lung round things out. And yeah, a lot of pressure from Team Japan. Ito Bar-David kind of looked lost, and a good job by Hirotoshi Yoshimura. Seth Mahler forced to call a timeout here. So we will also step aside. 4-1 Japan as we are sitting in the second quarter of this Group B matchup between Israel and Japan. Live in Limerick along the shores of the River Shannon. This is the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships. Day 3 underway. This is Group B action. 4-1 Japan over Israel. Japan with a couple goals from Kuroda in the first. Tanamura and Ishikawa also scoring. Tom Eschen here with you on the call. Appreciate you joining us. Already we've had some wonderful contests here. Even today we've had some great ones. 2 more to go, including this one. Wales, a 12-4 win over Chinese Taipei. Hong Kong, a 10-4 win over Uganda. That's in Group E. In Group D, China over Poland, 9-8. And Netherlands beating Korea a little while ago, 11-8. A couple of good games there over the course of the afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you might be watching. Thank you for doing so. So Israel just took a timeout. Japan putting a lot of pressure on defense. Yamamoto coming out to guard Trojano. That's the matchup they want here. Aggressively coming out on him, Yamamoto to Trojano. Here's the pole trying to mix up Trojano. He takes the shot, somehow came away there, coming away with the rebound and the score. Abramovich, 4-2. Scored 2 yesterday, gets another today, this time on the rebound. I don't know how Trojano came out of there. Right into the stick of Abramovich, and he scores. He's one of the best scorers in the Israel Lacrosse League, so over the course of the next week or so, you're going to see a lot of these two. Abramovich and Trojano. So the Israelis get another to make it 4-2. Good start to their second quarter. 4-1 Japan after 1. Israel now needs to start trying to figure out if they can win a face-off here. Wells back in there again. Try to stem the tide. Winning the clamp again is Takeda. He hasn't lost one today. Now to make a clean pass. I mean, maybe that's what's helping Israel here. They brought in Greg Wells, the pole, and he hasn't won the clamp or anything like, or even the ensuing ground ball, but maybe just giving a little bit more pressure and putting more pressure on Takeda. Takeda's thrown it away twice in a row.
10 minutes remaining in the half, 10 minutes.
10 minutes to go here in the second quarter, 4-2. Israel causing a couple turnovers, that'll help. Alex Kaplan, Mahwah, New Jersey. Took a trip over there in December 2020 to the bubble that they held in Israel. Said at one point with the pandemic, his high school season canceled, thought his career was over, did Kaplan, but said he had more work to do, and that gave him an opportunity to play again. And here he is playing 2 years later. Israel throwing it away. Ito to take it out of the cage here and see if Japan can now work the clearing game. See how this group shakes out. Everybody from Group A will move on to the championship round. The top 3 teams in B and C will also move on, and then the best of the 2 fourth-place teams. So whoever has the best tiebreaker, stats, wins, whatever, points, what have you, of the 2 fourth-place teams in B and C move on to those championship rounds. Israel finished 6th overall at the U19 World Championships, lost to England 10-7 in the 5th place game. Here's Yamada. Quicker slide now. We'll see if they can work that switch on the matchup. Baroda has 2 goals. Good shooter. Strong shooter at that. They're trying to force him to the right. He's a lefty. Now Fujioka's got his defender caught up. Little skip pass, couple stops and a shot. Battle for the ground ball, won by Kaigara. Grew up playing baseball and handball in Japan. Now the captain of his college team at Keio University. Here's Ishikawa. Works his way in close, met by Friedman up top. Was he pushed into the crease? A little of a push there, and then maybe saying he went in on his own momentum after that. Looks like they're going to call, I believe, that push. They are. 30-second penalty against Israel there. That push you saw right before he went into the crease, there was kind of that cross-check from behind. So 30 seconds now. Japan, their first man up of the day. Leading 4-2. See what their man-up offense looks like. 7 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Little skip pass, Ishikawa, couple steps, shot over the top of the crossbar. Couple seconds to go here on the penalty. See if they can get one more shot out of it. They look into the middle, bounces on through. We should be at even strength here momentarily, and we are. Israel kills off the penalty. But just the one shot for Japan. Not a bad shot at that. But Israel able to stem the tide. Ishikawa. Another low shot. Friedman goes down for it. Picked back up by the shooter, Kuroda. Takozaki picks it up. Kaigara has an assist today. Long possession for Japan. Israel playing a lot of defense here. Don't forget it even started before that penalty. Tanamura trying to find some space. 5'6", 158, a little more shifty. Now he takes it with the right. Friedman, another stop. Nice job for the 2B sophomore at Tufts. Not only played in that winter bubble, but led the league in save percentage, least number of goals allowed in that winter bubble in 2020, December. Was a part of this U20 national team in Prague for those Euros and the U20 Euros in 2019. Takes a few seconds there and lets maybe his defense get a blow. They just played it for a long time, and you know, Israel will get it on their offensive end. Trojano. Joey Kraft. 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Ball in the stick of Trojano's stick a lot more here in this game compared to yesterday. We didn't see him a whole lot. He took a couple shots. He actually took a penalty as well. He already has a goal today. Now he works with Kraft. Kraft working on Sodayama, a captain, good defenseman. That's why Kraft has been a little bit quieter today because of Sodayama, unable to go gather it as a Maga. And now with the water break initiated, both teams will go and rehydrate, and so will we. 4-2, Japan, Israel keeping things close in Group B play in Limerick. Hydration continuing on both sidelines. Just a reminder, it's mid-80s here in Ireland at the moment. Another hot day. It will be hot tomorrow as well. Then when the front comes through Sunday, it'll be much nicer after that. A little bit more normal for this time of year. And your weather and traffic on the 8s here as a part of these men's U21 World Championships. It is a key factor here for a lot of these teams coming from all over the world, as you know. So playing in all sorts of different environments, cold, hot, rainy, snowy, windy, maybe not snowy, but you know what I'm saying. It's a whole different animal, and everybody's now under these same hot conditions in Limerick for the next couple days. It'll be good for everybody, though, come Sunday, Monday. Ray Yamamoto, the takeaway. Now here he comes on the break. A couple passes, the shot, and Freeman, another save. Not an easy save with a lot of white shirts, with a lot of speed coming at him, and Friedman standing tall so far here today. He has done an excellent job. He's passed many of the tests he's had so far. So 4-2 remains the score, and Friedman a big part of that. He has 8 saves already today. Japan looking to find some space. They haven't needed a ton when releasing some of their shots so far. Israel's done a better job of closing that gap quicker. Fujioka has to run away. Now here's Ishikawa. 3 minutes to go here in the first half. 8 saves for Ben Friedman. Almost single-handedly keeping Israel in this game. As it remains 4-2, Japan hasn't scored in the second quarter. It was 4-1 after 1. A little hesitation from Israel, hesitation from Japan too. A couple more passes, shot, just a bit wide. Otsuka taking that one. Sounds like Japan took a timeout here as they couldn't really figure out this Israel defense. So everybody will now go a few minutes after the water break and talk things over, as Yuto Suzuki will talk things over with his squad. We'll step aside as well as we make our way towards halftime here in Ireland. 4 saves in the first, 4 saves in the second for Benjamin Friedman for Team Israel. Spent that gap year training, growing lacrosse in schools through coaching in Israel back 2020, 2021. Huge part of the growth of the game here, and now he came way out to try and make things a little more chaotic for Japan after they took a timeout. Couldn't really figure out the Israel defense. Now Israel changes things up, switches quickly here. Here comes another slide. They'll retreat. Just trying to change up the looks, it looks like, right now. Kuroda has 2 goals for Japan. They haven't scored here in this second quarter. Clamping down Israel. Tanamura takes his fender to the ground. Kuroda. Once again, good job by this Israeli defense. Kuroda likes that left hand. They're playing him to the right, and that's taken away on the right. Yufa quickly coming on it as Fujioka, and Japan takes another timeout. So Japan kind of had their feet in the mud here offensively the last couple times here, and forced to take a couple timeouts in a row is Yuto Suzuki, the 46-year-old head coach of Team Japan. Doesn't like what he sees at all right now because Israel really hasn't given them anything good to see. And then Friedman at the back end stopping a lot of the shots here in this second. Of course, this is Japan's first appearance here in these games, and while they talk things over, so will we. Another break, and we'll be right back as we will get to the end of this quarter here in moments on Lax Sports Network. All right, so back to the action here in the second quarter. Not much time to go here in the half. Japan trying to figure out this Israel defense, forced to take 2 timeouts on this one possession. Tanamura, the speed dodge with the left, releases over the top of the crossbar. 1 minute to go in the half. I don't know if Japan is going to want to let Israel take the ball over on offense again, but I'll say that Israel, with some momentum despite the fact they haven't scored, this in a non-shot clock-like format, you kind of have to take those moral victories defensively as well. They've held Japan off the scoreboard for the entirety of this quarter. Israel with the 1 goal. Abramovich, on a rebound, getting that. Japan looking to get things going offensively. Kaigura looking for some instructions from the sideline. Now away he goes. This the zone look from Israel. 9 seconds to go in the quarter. Kaigura looking to dodge. Dishes it out. The shot as time expires appropriately gobbled up. And Israel keeps Japan off the scoreboard for the duration of the second quarter. What a performance defensively. That just over the top of the crossbar as time expired by Tanamura. But the 1 goal scored by Abramovich. Ben Friedman, 8 saves for Israel, but it is Team Japan. Kenshiro Kuroda with the 2 goals in the first half. They lead 4-2. Make sure to stay tuned over the course of halftime. An interview with Team USA head coach Nick Myers is coming your way, so don't go anywhere. You're watching the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships on Lax Sports Network. Third quarter just about to begin here in Limerick, Ireland. You're watching the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships live from the University of Limerick. Hello, everybody. Tom Eschen here with you after a scintillating defensive first half, 4-2. The Team Japan U21 squad on top of Team Israel so far. We had some fascinating first half stats that we want to share with you. Ben Friedman for Israel, 8 saves. The shots, the differential here is unbelievable. 16-2 right here for Japan. They've shot the ball 16 times, Israel just twice, but Israel has 2 goals on the board. So it's just a 2-goal deficit for Israel after their defense really tightened the screws at the end of that second quarter, forcing a couple of timeouts along the way as well. Another note to pass along, Yusuke Takeda, 8 for 8 at the face-off X for Japan, 6 ground balls, so he won 6 of the 8 to himself, though Israel in that second quarter put Greg Wells there at the X alongside him, and while Takeda did win a couple of those face-offs, Wells enough defensively with the pole to force Takeda to throw away a couple times. We'll see what happens here as the second half gets underway. We'll step aside here as we get you ready for the third quarter. A good time to tell you that Lax Sports Network brings you 64 games of the Men's U21 World Lacrosse Championship over the course of 10 days. We have 7 games on tap for tomorrow. Among the matchups you'll see Kenya against Poland, China against Wales, and Germany against Latvia. Action starts 6 a.m. Eastern on laxsn.com. Live lacrosse from Limerick, Ireland, right here on LSN. Set and ready to go for the third quarter here in Limerick. Group B play continues to be excellent thus far, and this has been a barn burner. 4-2 as we head into the final 30 minutes of play on Lax Sports Network. Takeda hasn't lost a face-off yet, and he loses the first one of the third. How about that? A good job by Team Israel. They've mixed things up there in the X. That Shelev Tal winning that face-off. So Tal gets in there and immediately wins one. He went 3 for 7 yesterday. That was the first face-off he's taken today. Israel will then turn it over. Tal from Netanya, Israel, actually said he recognized the sport when they came to go teach everybody about it. Say he saw it and on the show Teen Wolf. Wolf playing lacrosse. So Japan with possession here. Tetsuya Yamada. 2 goals for Kuroda in that first half. He led the way for Japan. They have a 4-2 lead. They've had the ball most of the time. Like I said, the shot differential, 16-2. Yamada. Little bull dodge there. Now Tanemura. Israel defense has swarmed. It's like they've been at a whole other level here over the second and third quarters. Atsuka finds some space. Deflected away by Friedman. Friedman 8 first half saves, 4 in the first, 4 in the second. Now as we continue in the third, just underway elsewhere, Puerto Rico and Czech Republic. As Group B play continues. Ishikawa gets it taken away. Good defense by Israel. They force a turnover finally. They've been locked on defense, but Japan's been pretty disciplined and hasn't turned it over. Now they have. Let's see what Israel can do on offense. They scored the last goal, which came back in the second quarter. Early in that second quarter, about 3 minutes into the second. So no one scored in more than 10 minutes of this game, of gameplay that is. Trojano gets it knocked away briefly here. Yoshimura playing defense, the Meiji University captain. He picks it up, looking now to clear it. Ball bouncing dangerously through the crease. Abramovich kicked back out to Yokokawa. Real providing some pressure. We haven't said this man's name much today. Shun Ito hasn't had to make a save. He's only faced 2 shots on the cage. guess he's faced 4 shots total. 2 of them have gone in. Kaigara here taking it up top. He's faced 2 shots, that was correct. 2 shots on goal, 2 scores for Israel so far. Kaigara does have an assist today, trying to force him left. He's a righty. Kicks it back out to Ishikawa. Kuroda, some space. Look for that lefty release, decides not to take that shot. Tanamura to the doorstep. That pass not on the mark. Israel forcing a turnover. It looked like trying to shoot before he caught was Fujioka there. So 4-2 here, Japan, Israel. 1-1 elsewhere, Czech Republic, Puerto Rico. I'd stay with this one, though, as Israel and Japan definitely have high hopes for this tournament. Puerto Rico dashing some of those in the first game, but obviously Israel time to make that up. Have a little bit of time in the second half to try to avoid falling 0 for 2 here in their first 2 games. Did get one of their goals quickly in transition, but Japan a good job getting back once again here. Trojano has one of the goals. One of the best goals, one of the highlight goals we've seen of the tournament, a diver in the crease. Cross-handed dive at that. He's got a short stick on him, Yamamoto. Speed dodge down the alley. Coming in to help, Chikane. Taken away by Japan. Another good job defensively. Now they'll get it out, and here they come. Kaimura, couple fakes. Shot. Another save for Friedman. A kick save. Right there off that right foot, Ishikawa unloading low. We said it in the first half. Ben Friedman keeping Israel in this game. Score remains 4-2 in the third. 9 saves for Friedman. Japan taking their time on offense. No shot clock here under international men's rules, and the clock will run up until the final 30 seconds of this quarter, of the fourth. It'll stop under 2 minutes, and we very well might need that to stop under 2 minutes, depending on how this goes. Fujioka from X, here comes the slide, looking for an opening. He finds one, and they score. First goal since the first for Japan makes it 5-2. Yuta Ishikawa's second of the day. Saw that slide come. Somebody was open. That man, Ishikawa. Fujioka, great awareness. Gets the assist. Fujioka, just 19 years old. He helped guide Keio University to a Final Four. He is a first-year student. He had a hat trick over there at university. He wears the number 3. That's a legendary number there, so obviously a big part of what they do.
And assisted by number 10, Renta Fushika. That goal made it 5-2.
Another win on the face-off X for Team Japan and for Takeda. It's allowed them to take all of these shots. They've actually added more here to the box score as time has gone on. So they actually took 10 in the second. They took 10 in the first. They've taken 3 in the third. Shot differential 23-2 right now, Japan. Somehow, it's still just a 3-goal game. Kuroda feeding X. Fujioka once again looking to feed. He does right over the top. Tanamura. Ishikawa. Tanamura. Otsuka shoots. Backed up by Fujioka. And with 6:51 to go here in the third, applause here from the bench as there will be a water break. So both teams will hydrate. 5-2 Japan, less than 7 minutes to play here in the third quarter. We'll step aside. Lax Sports Network brings you 64 games of the men's U21 World Lacrosse Championship over 10 days. We have 7 games on tap for tomorrow. Among the matchups you'll see, Kenya, Poland, China, Wales, Germany, Latvia. Action starts at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on laxsn.com. Live lacrosse from Limerick, Ireland, right here on LSN. We begin once again here in the third quarter. 5-2 Japan. They've got the first of the second half here now. Israel trying to hang in there. They need the ball, though, to be able to try and climb this hill, which is turning slowly into a mountain. Greg Wells doing a good job defensively once again, really bothering Hakozaki. Hakozaki, though, finds himself free. Pass in front, shot from Ishikawa off of Friedman. Backed up by Team Israel. That was Wells. Israel gets it over here. Dick Turrell, but important in that clearing game all day long. Tenafly, New Jersey, class of 2023. 90 ground balls as a junior this past year. And it appears that, I think that was a pretty good timeout. Seth Mahler seeing that Israel was approaching that back end line. He decides to take a timeout to give his team a breather. And with that, we will step aside. 5-2 here in the third. Be sure to check out a new edition of the Lacrosse Now podcast every single week. This week, we'll feature PLL Water Dogs and former U19 Team USA player and gold medalist Michael Sowers, Team Ireland U21 head coach Tom Pryor, plus Brandon Aviles and Colin Baez from Team Puerto Rico, currently in action. Watch the show live, 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday nights on Lax Sports Network, or beginning the next day on the LSN YouTube page. You can subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcasts. So you can get it anywhere you might want to. Meanwhile, you're getting some lacrosse. The World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships, Day 3. Just about to get in the books. Your final 2 games here in Group B in action. 5-2 Japan over Israel. Ball bouncing. They look to feed over the middle. That goes over the head of Barnoy. And that pass goes out of bounds. It'll be Japan ball.
About 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Puerto Rico and Czech Republic, that's the final game of the day. They're just underway, about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter there. Here, we're in the third, about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter here. 5-2, Japan with the lead over Israel. Just feels like even when Israel's had possession, they haven't had it very long either. That hasn't helped. Japan has been content to kind of hang out over here and just keep possession and try to find their shot. Helping with that has been the face-offs. 10 for 10 is Takeda today. Little quick dodge, little wide for Ono. Less than 5 to play in the third. Yamada now works it to the middle. Tanamura. Ono again getting some of his first few runs of the day. The 20-year-old from Rikyo University. They look to the doorstep. Shot is in. Hakozaki, the captain. 6th goal on the board for Japan at 6-2. Good look there on the doorstep and a big old swing and through there by Hakozaki. That's a lot to stop if you're Friedman, is what I'm trying to say. So Tanamura adds another assist to his goal. Hakozaki gets his first goal today. 4th year coming up at Kanazawa University for the 21-year-old from Ishikawa. He's one of the only players as Kanazawa University's in the 3rd division of collegiate ranks, kind of like the Division III over there. He's the only player from a Division III team on Team Japan here. Didn't play lacrosse until he got to college, as 90% of the athletes in Japan do, but he worked at it 5 hours a day playing wall ball when he first started. As you know, will get your stick skills primed. Greg Wells always seems to have his stick in the right spot. Yufa as well doing a good job at that there. Akozaki now working from X against a short stick here. Tao. Now he looks right there to the doorstep, and Friedman stops it. Otsuka had a great look, and Friedman another save. He's got double digits today. Dick Turtle tries to pick it up, having some trouble doing so. Otsuka's over there. And we have a few different whistles now that are ringing out. We've got a game happening next door, so don't fret if you hear a random whistle here and there. Field 2 currently being occupied. That ball bounces out of bounds. So Israel cannot clear. Team Japan takes possession. 6-2 in the 3rd. Just about 5:20 here local time in the evening in Ireland. 2 minutes to go in the 3rd, 6-2, Japan with a lead here. At 4-2 after the first half. Now in the 3rd, they've got a couple of goals. Israel still looking to try and settle in here. Offense has struggled, just 3 goals yesterday. 2 today. Yamada, a little swim move. And he works it through X. Akozaki. Kozaki then feeds the front, shot, another save for Friedman. Quick passing results in a score. Akozaki gets his 2nd in a row. It's 7-2 Japan. And we had a slash on top of that, so they'll have a penalty, a slash, a 1-minute deal there as little insult to injury. Ishikawa working that over to Tanamura, gets another assist as Tanamura, his 2nd of the day, as Hakozaki, kid who grew up playing soccer, track and field, now pretty good at lacrosse.
Seconds left in that quarter. 30 seconds.
So, as you know, the clock stopping at 30 seconds here. With 30 seconds to go, Takeda wins another face-off. He hasn't lost one today. 11 for 11. That contributes to a quick shot, backed up by Hakozaki.
And assisted by number 18, That was 13 from 18.
So Japan with the final possession here of this 3rd quarter, leading 7-2. They'll make a couple quick changes. And that'll do it. They will be content with a penalty to start the 4th with possession. So Japan taking a lead into the 4th. The final 15 minutes about to get underway. 7-2, Japan with a lead over Israel. You're watching Lax Sports Network.
30 seconds left in the man-out for Japan as we start the 4th quarter. They maintain possession.
All right, we're back. Just underway here in the 4th. Man up for Team Japan, looking to add another. Picked off by Friedman. That'll help burn the penalty. The aggressive goalie comes out. He's had an excellent day, but it is 7-2. The Japanese ahead of the Israelis here so far. Japan scoring 4 in the first half. able to translate things to a 4-2 lead heading into the third. Now 7-2 as we head into that fourth quarter. Takeaway there by Sodayama, now picked up by Greg Wells, who's played well all day long. Joey Kraft has been quiet. He's been held quiet. In an official time, I think that Kraft's helmet was unbuckled. Japan tried to make a couple changes when the official called time. It almost caught him napping there. But it has been Team Japan where the field has been tilted. 30 shots they've taken to 2 for Israel. It's a 5-goal game. Let's see if Israel can get something going here. We had a flag come down here on the sideline. Yeah, Japan was trying to make a bunch of those changes, and it probably came back to haunt them here as too many men on the field. Procedural penalty, and that will equate to a 30-second man up.
Japan has gotten a too many men penalty served by the in-home number 15.
Omine will serve this penalty as Israel gets an opportunity. Like I said, this is something they struggled in against Puerto Rico. This is the first penalty against Japan all day long, by the way. So this has been a bit of a different feel for Israel, though they still trail by 5. This could be an opportunity here as Kraft goes over the middle. Now he works it down. Goal line extended to Habaro. Out to Kraft, shoots. First test for Ito, he passes it. Took him all the way to the 4th to do so. To even have an opportunity to do so. In moments, we'll be back to even strength. Ito deflecting the pass to Kraft. So that'll let the defense reset. Back to 6-on-6 across here in the fourth quarter. 7-2 Japan. 2 goals for Kuroda, 2 for Hakozaki. Both of his came in the third. Goal and a couple of assists for Tanemura today. Ishikawa also has 2 for Japan. Kraft trying to ward Tsurayama. Kraft trying to find some freedom. And that whistle will actually stop the play. Tsurayama called for the hold. Group B play here continuing. All of these teams, I should say, are in action. Both games are underway. Czech Republic and Puerto Rico happening. Kicked off just after noon Eastern here, about a half hour ago, and Puerto Rico flexing their muscles early and often against Czech Republic. Czech Republic's first game, but Puerto Rico, as we saw them against Israel yesterday, dominate 6-1 Puerto Rico over Czech Republic right now. So Puerto Rico looking like one of the best in this group so far. Japan might have something to say about that, though. They lead 7-2. And Japan they've been deliberate, but they haven't made a lot of mistakes today. I mean, when you see a team take 30-something shots, 30 shots as we speak, that means they're not turning the ball over a lot. At the very least, they're putting the ball on cage. 12 saves for Friedman. He's done everything he can, peppered all day long. Hakozaki works it out to Kaigara. Slips, gets back up. Tanemura continuing to work, and now they work it back around. Kaigara shoots, scores! Lower right quadrant by Kaigara, gets his first of the day, 8-2, finally beats Friedman. Hard to find a space against the Israeli goalie. Kaigara does there. He beats a couple of those defenders, released with his left. A tough angle to go find that lower right-hand corner. Really nicely done. Accuracy by Yuta Kaigara. 8-2, now the score for Japan.
And the score is 8-2, Japan.
Just past the bottom of the hour here, 5:30 local time in Limerick. Tom Eschen here with you on the call as Group B play continues. Japan an 8-2 lead here on day 3. The U21 World Lacrosse Championships. These championships delayed for 2 years, brought from a U19 to U21 event. A record 23 teams in attendance here in Ireland over the course of these next 10 days or so. Wrapping up next weekend. This is only day 3. Some teams like Japan still getting their feet wet, their first game here in this tournament. Of course, we've seen in Pool A, Team USA play excellent so far. Israel trying to take their time. They'll get a couple of days rest after today, then take on Czech Republic on Monday. 4 teams in Group B. As mentioned in the first half, top 3 in B and C head on to the championship rounds. The best of the 4th place teams between those 2 groups will also make their way. Everybody else will play in the platinum bracket for seeds and things like that. Here's Kraft. Gets it over to Bar David over the top of the crossbar. Score remains 8-2 here in the 4th quarter. Here's Bar David trying to initiate here, trying to find different points of initiation, trying to find different people to initiate, and this one past the stick of Kraft. He's been held in check, Kraft, today. He had a goal yesterday early on, but here Tomoya Sodayama has done an excellent job against him all day long. Captain defensively for Team Japan. And Japan tried to throw that long there, try to get a quick goal. They were unable to do so, so ball went past the end line. Now Friedman out of the cage. So Friedman made 8 saves yesterday. Today with 12. And now Kaplan working to clear. Little spin move, good agility there by the pole. Now Tao in the middle, and a timeout here called by the Israeli sideline. Seth Mahler deciding to talk things over. Trailing by 6, going to try and find a spark on offense. We're going to go to a break. Japan leading 8-2 here in the 4th. You're watching the World Lacrosse Men's U21 Championships. It's been all Japan here in the 4th quarter. All Japan, I guess you could say, in the second half. And all day long, for the most part, in this one. Outshooting Israel 30-3. And offensively dominating and defensively really keeping Israel from getting into any sort of rhythm. Israel just taking that timeout a few moments ago. 2 goals for Ishikawa, Kuroda, Hakozaki. So far here today for Team Japan, their U21 squad making their first appearance in this competition since 2008. Actually played in the top division that year, went 0-5 in group play. They were rewarded that spot in the top division because they went unbeaten in their group 4 years prior. So back here today, and as we've seen with the Japanese, continuing in the international game to really produce some wonderful results. 6:40 to go here in the 4th. 8-2 the score. Israel trying to find some momentum out of that timeout. Japan not letting him do so. Tomoya Sodayama picking up the ground ball. And now here they come on the break. Looking for Yoko Kawa. Short stick D mid. He takes the shot and he scores. Japan adds another. Yoko Kawa's first of the day. 9-2. 21-year-old from the Tokyo University of Agriculture. Did that for college and high school. And really didn't have anybody else open. And they gave him enough space. And you can see these Japan U21 players, they're not afraid to shoot it. Just a little bit of breathing room. So now Japan changing things up here at the X following the goal as Takeda 12 for 12. Now they'll go with Taisei Chikakane up against Greg Wells. So 9-2 the score. Couple of pulls battling it out. And it's Chikakane who got a kick to him. Back to Rei Yamamoto. Japan's first game of these U21 World Championships and looking sharp in doing so. 5 minutes to go here in the fourth. Israel bogged them down a bit in the second quarter, but Japan's found more of a rhythm in the second half now. Hakozaki out to Otsuka, shoots, deflected off the back of Kaplan, the body block. And Kaplan got some of Otsuka at the end of all that. Otsuka's a little banged up. Watch this block. Oh, took it to the sternum. Kaplan looks okay, and then he went and laid out Otsuka after that. Sakuraya Jori gets it into the offensive end for Israel. 2 goals for them here today, both in the first half, one in the first quarter, one in the second. Trojano had one of the highlights of the tournament so far, diving cross-handed goal, and Ronan Abramovich had the other off a rebound. Have not seen anything like that since. Japan's done such a great job defensively of keeping Israel away from the cage. Here's Joey Kraft. Sodayama's done such a great job on him all day long. It's a matter of winning some of those individual matchups against the top scorers of Israel, and the team defense on top of that, doing a great job. Bar David. Abramovich can't handle it. Now ball bouncing away. Picked up by Bar David. So after he relinquished it, he's the one who gets it back. Abramovich, a captain of this team. 3 minutes to go here in the game. 9-2 the score. Group B play continuing. Israel would fall to 0-2. Japan improving to 1-0 with a date with the Czech Republic tomorrow. Kraft just can't find an opening. Sodayama doing such a wonderful job against him. No space at all. The feed to Abramovich. And that pass is picked off by Sodayama. This defense wearing down the Israelis, and here comes Sodayama down the other end. The pole, looks to shoot, he does, and he scores! 10-2 Japan. A pole goal for Sodayama. He deserved it. He's done the job defensively all day, and his eyes light up here in transition. Beating everybody, including Friedman. Captain of his college team, captain of this team. Interestingly enough, he said initially in collegiate had trouble adjusting to his role as the captain at Tokyo Gakuge University. So that was kind of a challenge for him to grow into that mold, and obviously has grown into it. And doing it here now in international play. So Japan at 10-2 advantage. as they are pouring it on the Israelis as we speak. While we have a timeout here on the field, Lax Sports Network's coverage of the U21 Men's World Lacrosse Championship continues tomorrow. Join us at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for featured game number 1 at the Czech Republic against Japan. Then at noon, you'll see Sweden and Uganda. You can watch the games live from Limerick, Ireland on any of our digital platforms. Go to laxsn.com for the list of the links, or you can watch the games right there, laxsn.com. Keeping an eye here on this tournament, and I'd imagine you would be if you're watching here today. 9-1 Puerto Rico over Czech Republic. Ooh. By the way, Japan-Puerto Rico is Monday, just in case you were curious when those two teams would play. But I'm looking forward to seeing Czech Republic. This is their first game as well, so Puerto Rico already with their feet wet as the Poles battle it out here. Goldman, the regular face-off man for Israel, I think ended up drawing a violation there, so Israel wins it. 10-2 is the score. Netherlands in Group E beating Korea 11-8. Hong Kong over Uganda in Group E 10-4. Had a couple of Group D games today as well. China over Poland 9-8. And Wales over Chinese Taipei 12-4 there. Another tough pass, and that's what it's been. It feels like Japan's put the pressure on all day long, and maybe a little bit too much pressure there. Yamamoto is going to be hit with a penalty. So Israel will get a man up here. They get it quickly off the penalty, and another shot goes wide. They do have it backed up here with Kraft.
At 124. The penalty was assessed number 12, Ray Yamamoto. Once again, that was number 12, Ray Yamamoto at 124 for a legal.
Approaching 1 minute to go. Wells take a couple seconds to step and shoot. The Pole staying in here on the offensive end to try and just give himself some reps, you'd imagine. Been a part of a lot of these teams over the course of the years, U20 European Championships. There's a long shot and a score. Kraft gets the goal with 1 minute to go. 10-3, the first goal of the second half for Team Israel. Sophomore coming up here at Tufts, 2022-2023. Played in 6 games over this past season with the Jumbos, and Japan kind of forgot about him. Can't forget about Kraft. He scored yesterday, scoring today as well. Newton, Massachusetts native, went to the Rivers School, played football there alongside lacrosse. Good athlete. So they get goals today from Chojano, Abramovich, and Kraft. They're scorers, but obviously need a lot more than that if they're going to be successful over the course of this fortnight. So 10-3 the score. Yoshimura coming out with it. Yoshimura taking his shot, as Aviel Driedish has come into the game for Israel and replacing Friedman, who did play well, did Ben Friedman. Friedman finished his day with 13 saves, allowing 10 goals in the process. That's pretty good. That's actually, that chopper, that's 57%. Kraft stopped by Ito. 30 seconds to play here in the fourth. Japan looking to go 1-0. Their first World Championship U21 appearance since 2008, going quite well. And they'll have a date tomorrow with the Czech Republic to try and go 2-0 here in Group B play. Four seconds on the clock. Dick Turrell, one more shot. That goes wide. Final seconds tick off, and Japan wins their opener 10-3 over Israel. An all-encompassing effort from Team Japan offensively and defensively. The defense didn't really even let it get to their goalie, Ito. 2 goals from Ishikawa, Hakozaki, Kuroda, and Tanamura with his goal, with a couple of assists to boot. Friedman making 13 saves in the losing effort for Israel, so they will fall to 0-2. Their final game in group play against Czech Republic comes on Monday. So they'll get a couple days off. Japan, meanwhile, plays tomorrow against the Czech, the game you can see right here on Lax Sports Network. But that'll do it for our coverage for now from Limerick, Ireland. Of course, stay tuned here all week long for all the games from the World Lacrosse Men's U21 World Championships. For the rest of our team, I am Tom Eschem. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.